Living in Bolivia, there's a lot of different factors that are important to know about. The weather is majority of the time very hot and very humid. Um, I think our missionary packet said for us to bring like 2 suits and all kinds of stuff. The only time I ever used my suit was when we would have, zone conferences or maybe a baptism, things like that. So it's going to be very hot, and the weather, because of the humidity, when it rains, it pours, and it can be raining for days at a time, and flood. You can be, depending on the area, whether you're in the city and there's some drainage, or whether you're a little bit further out, it can be very muddy, and it will be very wet and flooded. Bring a good coat that's going to keep you dry. Um, and yeah, when it gets wet, um, you're gonna get wet, so don't worry about it. Just go to work, and it'll be fun trudging through the mud, or proselyting in the rain when it's pouring rain and everyone's inside of the houses, and you and your companion are the only ones walking through the rain. And people are calling you inside. Sometimes it's a blessing. People are like, "Hey, get in here. What are you doing out in the rain?" But it's a good feeling to think, while everyone else is resting and getting out of the rain, the work goes on. And it's a testimony too, as you walk down the streets and everybody's looking at you funny and you're walking straight through the rain. Keep your scriptures dry. But if you have to just put them in a plastic bag from a little store on the corner and wrap them up, or if you have some kind of waterproof case, I don't know anybody who had one of those. But yeah, just know that it's gonna rain a lot, and it's gonna be floody. It's gonna be muddy and flooded in a lot of your areas, and so that's always fun, just to be in the hot and then let it cool off in the rain. One thing too about the differences there in Bolivia is the price. You can get things a lot cheaper there in Bolivia, and so a lot of times you'll come on the mission with all of your suits and your shirts and your pants and everything that you have, and you'll realize that you could have purchased it a lot cheaper if you would have had enough as you went and just purchased as you go there in Bolivia, because it's a lot cheaper there. Bolivia is just one of the most awesome places. The lifestyle is so open and loving. Everyone is friendly. Everyone is nice. You can talk to anyone. There are people there that work, for that day to get money for their food for that day, and it's very humbling to see families give everything that they have to make ends meet. With that being said, sometimes getting people to church on Sunday can be a difficulty, as people very often work 7 days a week. Many common jobs that people will have. I was amazed at how many jobs people could come up with to provide for their family. You have your mechanics, and you have your doctors and your lawyers. You have all those, in the city. But you'll find people who would drive around bicycles with a basket on the back and collect old batteries for, your car, or collect, recyclables and things. And they would, basically take your recyclables and then go donate it and turn it in, and get money off that. They're so creative, and so many people who will have their own little cooking stand on the side of the road and just be cooking fried chicken and things like that. There's just so many jobs that people will have. It's awesome to see how innovative and creative they are with all the different things that they would do. Something that's unique, I believe, to Bolivia is the mode of transportation that that they have is los micros, the little buses that will have maybe 15 to 20 seats in there, but they'll cram 40 people in, and they'll have the little numbers on the top of the bus as they drive through. You have to know the routes. You'll know what roads they drive through and what stops there are, but you just wave them down. You jump on, you pay your little fare, and when it's time to stop, you just yell "pare," and you just para, and you stop and jump off, and you'll be cramming 40 plus people standing, holding on to the pole at the top, and having to squeeze your way down the middle aisle, or hanging out the door. You're trying to be the last one in, so you're kind of hanging off the door. It's good fun. Having that mode of transportation is very helpful when you have a big area and you got to get to the other side, and there's only certain routes that pass through your area and things like that. So advice would be always to have a pocket full of just change. Because you don't want to carry money with you. You don't really need it, but if you have some change in your pocket, because you never know if you're going to need to jump in a quick taxi, depending on what area you're in. If you're in the city, there's taxis, or if you need to jump on a micro or something, make sure you always have some change in your pocket for that as well. Things to do around there, everybody's playing soccer. So on P days, most likely you'll go and write your family, and then you'll go out and have a soccer game. Every chapel there in Bolivia, and I'm pretty sure it's anywhere in Latin America, instead of having the basketball court inside the chapel like a lot of chapels here in America do, they'll have a little basketball court in the back. But most likely there'll be a little soccer goal, a little canchita, little mini soccer field, a cement basketball court that you'll be able to play soccer on, and surprisingly, you'll talk to a lot of people on the street doing contacts. You'll ask them if they know about the Mormons or if they know about the church, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I used to go play at the chapel all the time, with my friends," and so that's a great way to bring people into the church, is having that friendship through the activities of playing soccer and whatnot.